Hi guys, my name is Yuli and this is Nerd Alert. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about my favorite moments of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and this is going to be a very spoiler-filled video because I'm obviously going to be talking about moments throughout this whole book, and I don't want to have to be careful with spoilers, so if you haven't read this book, maybe don't watch this video. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and comment down below anything that you want to comment down below, as in what are your favorite moments and stuff like that. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get right into this video. So I have my notes here on my phone, so I will be looking down at them just because, yeah, and also I'm going to do a video about each of the books in the Stormlight Archive and all of my favorite moments so far. So one of my favorite moments is when Kaladin sees Syl for the first time, because I just think it's very cute and funny how he thinks she is a Windspread and how he thinks she's like kind of stupid and how she pranks him. I actually love all of their early interactions and like all of the interactions in general throughout the whole series because they are very wholesome and adorable and also sometimes heartbreaking and sad, but also very good in general, and like I really love all of their interactions. And then I love it when Kaladin chooses life, which is if you know, at the end of one of the scenes in Bridgefall when he is very like he's just lost hope for everything and he just wants to end his life. He goes to one of the chasms that is like kind of like popular for Bridgman doing that, and he contemplates jumping off the bridge, but then Syl goes back to him and she's carrying like poisonous leaves because she thought he liked the leaves, and that's kind of like what kind of like gives him hope in a way, and he chooses life before death, and he goes back to the Bridgefall and kicks them awake and is like, okay, I'm going to be your leader now, and basically makes of Bridgefall what we know our good team to be at the end of book 3, for example. And I love that as a part of his journey so much. And I also love it when he just gradually starts getting close to Bridgefall and like just gradually befriends them. First Hobber and then Dre and Rock and Teft and everybody and Moash, especially when he finally manages to convince Moash in like his purpose and everything. I love that so much. Another favorite moment is when he teaches Bridgefall to do the side carry and obviously gets himself in trouble, so he gets sprung for in the storm, and I love it when he survives the high storm and goes back and starts, you know, kind of like more consciously kind of using his powers, which kind of gets later on in the book, but still I love it when he survives the storm and how he's like, you can see it, you can come out and see that I'm gonna be alive, and like I just love this so much about him, and like that is one of my favorite moments. It's like most of my moments are like tapped on the top of the book, if you can see this, but you won't be able to from the lighting, but yeah, you can kind of see it here, but yeah, I I love that so much. I love it when Kaladin kind of loses hope, but like in like when the side carry fails because people tell him that he wasn't supposed to survive as a bridgeman because they're basically like the scapegoats of like the armies. They are used as sacrifices for the armies, so that's when he loses hope. And then I love it how even though he loses hope, he just wants to like, he still wants to like protect the people he loves. Now that's Bridge 4, and he doesn't want to fail anybody else, and that's when he decides to just try and escape, and I really love that moment. Also, I love it when he decides to save Dalinar, when he sees how Sadeas betrays Dalinar and decides to save him. I love that. Also, I forgot to say that in this video about me telling all of my favorite moments, I at first I thought that I would like be doing them like a bit more in detail, but it would be like a very long video otherwise, and I just want to kind of like get it out quicker because I did try to film a review for this book and I really failed. Like it was just rambly and messy, and like I didn't really say anything worth saying, to be honest, because I love this book so much that I just can't really talk about it in like a critical way, and like I don't want to be critical, and like when I'm gushing about this, I need somebody else to like discuss it with, kind of like we did in our drama discussion for Angel's Last Mission. So yeah, but yeah, I'm going to be very quick. And in the other books, I have done them kind of in chronological order, but in this one, I did it in like character order. But anyway, I really love it when he decides to save Dalina and goes back to the planes with Bridge 4 and just honestly helps them basically get out alive. Some of my favorite Shallan moments when she draws and sees the cryptids for the first time, because in the beginning of the series and during my first read of the Stormwind Archive, this is my third read of the first two books, I didn't really like Shallan's perspective that much. I kind of found it boring because all she was doing was trying to like steal from Yasna, and she was just kind of there and not being like a great person. But now I have learned to like enjoy her parts a bit more. One of my favorite parts is when she draws and sees the cryptids for the first time, because when first read it, this was like a very creepy scene because she didn't know what was happening. She didn't know what was happening, so it was like very scary, and I love that. To this day, it still gives me like just chills whenever I read it, just because of how it's written, and like I love it, and like they are kind of creepy looking as well. So yeah, other favorite moments with Shallan's chapters is when she soul casts for the first time. It was like a very bloody scene. I love that so much. It's like it's very jarring and like scaring, especially like if I imagine myself from like from the perspective of Yasna going into her room and just seeing Shallan lying in like a pool of blood. Like, oh yes, I just loved that part so much. Another favorite moment is when she's with not Yalp, when she is with Kabzo. It's just like their interactions are just so like wholesome to me, even though he's like a liar. I just really enjoy reading about them. And also when she's poisoned, I love that scene when she's poisoned, because she's kind of like low-key forced to tell Yasna the truth about her stealing the Soulcaster, and then all of that. I just really enjoy reading about it. But also I love it when she's like, I know that this Soulcaster is fake because I did it soulcast without a Soulcaster. I love that whole section there. And again, going back to the Shattered Plains, I love Wit. Wit is one of my favorite characters, and I enjoy every scene with him whenever he insults anybody, whenever he helps Kaladin, because he helps Kaladin and like the whole team like multiple times throughout all of the series. So I love all of the interactions the characters have with him, and I especially love it when he insults Sadeas, because Sadeas deserves it so much. But yeah, I really love that one. When I love it when Dalinar just tries to trust Sadeas, even though he knows that he probably shouldn't, but he just wants to trust Sadeas because Sadeas was one of his best friends. Like, they were friends, Gavilar, Sadeas, and Dalinar. So Dalinar wants to trust Sadeas because of like for the sake of the past and for the sake of Gavilar and everything. And even he decides to like interpret his dreams as something like as if they are telling him to trust Sadeas. Like, I love it because it just shows Dalinar's personality, how he doesn't want to let go of this old friend of his, like, because he's like one of the last links to like Gavilar, and like I love that. And I love it when Dalinar also chooses life before death, as saying he doesn't enjoy senseless fighting anymore. He isn't feeling the thrill of battle because he doesn't like killing for like the sake of killing. He just kind of like wants to have a reason for it in a way. Like, I love like his whole development and how he's like so like he's so obsessed with the book The Way of Kings, like the fictional book. I just love that whole part, and how also Navani decides to record his dreams and how he cracks like a dead language. I love all of his scenes in The Way of Kings and everywhere else. I also love how Dalin and Navani kind of like flirt-ish, and how she basically pursues him, and especially loved it when they kissed. This was one of my favorite scenes when I first read it, and now, even though I'm not a big romance reader, I really enjoyed those scenes. Like, I love Dariner and Navani's scenes. I just ship them. They're like my OTP for like of all time, probably, just because I just love them so much. Okay, like I love their dynamics and their healthy relationship and all that. I love it so much. And one of my all-time favorite moments of like the end of The Way of Kings, after Kaladin saves Dalinar and Dalinar gives him everything and gives up offspring to Sadeas for the sake of Kaladin and all that. Like, I love these scenes so much. I love like the last 200 pages of this book. Like, I tapped so much, you can barely see it, but I tabbed it so much because I love it so much. So everything from the last 200 pages is like my favorite moment. But one of my ultimate favorite moments is when Dalina basically beats up Elkar for faking his own assassination attempt, and then he's like, oh, by the way, your mother and I are courting now. And I just love that because it was like so fun and so badass, and like it's so Dalinar that I just loved so much, because everybody was telling Dalinar how he wasn't the Blackthorn anymore, he wasn't as scary, he wasn't as bloodthirsty anymore, he wasn't like as dominant and strong as he was. Like they thought he was senile and stuff, like, they thought he was going mad, but instead he like was like, no, I'm not. And he was like proving them wrong and stuff, and like I just really loved that so much. I loved the last 200 pages so much. Like I love the whole book and the characters and everybody, and like especially the characters, they have grown on me so much. But yeah, I just enjoyed this reread of mine, and like upon this reread I realized why people love rereading so much, and honestly I would do it again. So yeah, and that's basically it. These are all of my favorite moments. I actually did not expect this video to be as short as it is, but I wanted to like get it out as fast as possible and just say them as quick as possible, because I didn't want this video to be like too long, because I have 2 others as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and these are all of my favorite moments. Tell me which are your favorite moments. I also love something that I forgot to say actually, is that I love it when Rogue decides to cook for Bridge 4, and when he does the stew and all that. I just love that whole scene, because with Bridge 4 they're like this found family that I love reading about, and they're all like ragtag people, and just they find themselves, and like they have like this kind of like a nice atmosphere where they have like the stew and they like talk and kind of get to know each other and stuff. And I just love this for like the homey feeling, and like how they keep that tradition in the next books as well. So like I love that. So yeah, that's it for today. These are all of my favorite moments, or most of them. I may have forgotten some. Basically the whole book is my favorite moment of The Way of Kings. But yeah, tell me what are your favorite moments from The Way of Kings, and which is your favorite book from the Stormlight Archive. And that's basically it for today's video. And since I already asked you to give it a like and a comment in the beginning of the video, all I have to say is bye guys, and make sure to check out our other videos.